Behavior can be both simple but also complicated. Today, let's focus on the simple. I'm Callie. This is the weekly show here at CRK Training, and today I want to focus on a simple framework for understanding behavior. Understanding the behavior of your horse, what causes behaviors, and what influences them, whether they are going to keep going, whether they're going to increase, meaning a bad behavior getting worse, or doing more of what we want to teach the horse to do, and how this affects your work with your horse. Because the more that we can understand how behavior works, the more that we can help our horses understand what we need them to do. And also, we might be able to understand ourselves a little better too. So this is called the ABC model of behavior. And it's an easy way to remember this. Some of the words are a little bit big, but I'm going to explain what they mean in a practical way. So A stands for antecedent. So the antecedent is the thing that comes before the behavior. It's the thing that starts it, it's the thing that precedes the behavior. More commonly in training, we call this a cue. What I think is important to remember here is that our cue is not necessarily just the train cues that we use. It's not just us squeezing with our leg to ask the horse to walk forward or using rein pressure to ask them to slow down, because a cue can also be that we pull into the barn and our horse recognizes that as time to head to the far end of the pasture. The cue can also be we walk into the feed room and the horse comes to the front of the stall and starts nickering because he's anticipating that he's going to get fed. So this just means what comes before a behavior. When you think about it, our lives and our horses' lives are kind of a constant process of this. So first we have things that cue different behaviors. Then B stands for the behavior itself. And this can be anything from when we think about when we're under saddle, behavior means the horse walking forward. It can be the horse turning. It can start to get a little bit more complex when we start talking about the behavior of we want our horse to have better bending, or we want them to step under more with a specific hind leg. It can also be behaviors in the barn. It can be pawing at the stall door. It can be as simple as walking to the front of the door, like in the example before. So behavior encompasses all of those different things that our horses do. And then finally, C is consequence. Consequences are the things that either make a behavior get stronger, where the horse does more of them, or that cause a behavior to start to go away, where the horse does less. We call these reinforcements and punishments. So anything that follows up a behavior, any consequence that's good for the horse, that's rewarding, that brings them more of what they like, whether that's food or rest or a release of pressure, they're going to tend to do more of those things. But anything that the horse does that brings things that they don't like, whether it's a direct punishment, like when we think of using a whip or using our lead rope in a way to try to punish and stop a behavior, or whether it's maybe a little bit more indirect and it kind of just happens as part of a daily process. For example, my example earlier of going into the feed room and then coming out and the horses come to the front of the stall anticipating food, but let's say you go into the feed room and you actually come out carrying your saddle and your bridle. If the horse doesn't particularly enjoy being ridden, that might actually be a bit punishing to the behavior of coming to the front of the stall the next time that you go into the feed room. So this model is happening all of the time. It's part of just the normal process of behavior and how behaviors change, and some things come and get stronger and some things fade away. Some of it is through our direct process of training, and some of it happens just as a matter of life. But the more that we can be aware of how this works, and just of this simple framework of what's preceding the behavior, what is the behavior, and then what's the consequence, we can become better trainers and we can better help our horses understand what we would like them to do so that they can live better with us in our lives. It's your turn to leave a comment now. So scroll down, write a comment, and just go through one example of something that your horse does. What do you think is the cue for that? And what do you think is the typical consequence for that behavior? It's going to be your first practice in thinking about using the ABC model of behavior in your work with your horse. If you're watching this anywhere besides crktrainingblog.com, that's where the best conversation happens. And also, if you're interested in learning more about the science of behavior, as well as really practical tips for creating a great foundation as a rider, as well as information and resources on horse care, I would love to have you join me in the free workshop that's offered through the Balanced Riding course. So you can use the link down below to sign up, and I'll let you know the next time it's available.